So a quick update on the Billy Joe Saunders and Demetrius Andrade situation. A lot of you, well, the hardcore among you at least, will have now realized Billy Joe Saunders has been stripped, and Andrade is now left with facing. I don't want to butcher this guy's name, but it's Walter It's Walter anyway. He was probably next in line for the WBO belt, and Eddie Hearn obviously kind of, I guess, protecting the fight and arranged an alternative should Billy Joe Saunders be stripped and therefore, or kind of unlicensed and therefore stripped. Just a small point of clarification, Billy Joe Saunders actually relinquished the title prior to an investigation from the WBO beginning, so officially he has given the title up as opposed to it being stripped, but given that he failed a drug test, failed to earn a license from the Massachusetts Boxing Commission, I would imagine there was a 99.999% chance he would have been stripped, especially by WBO's own rulings. So the aftermath of this is a very, very angry Fish Eyes, a very angry Frank Warren talking about taking legal action and what, I mean, for what? His fighter knowingly and accepted VADA testing, he willingly signed up to it. Now, from what I can gather, Massachusetts Boxing Council, or Massachusetts, whatever you want to call them, are equivalent to a British Boxing Association, or British Board of Control rather. I thought going into it they were adhered to the rules of WADA, which of course allows this stimulant up until the point of fight night essentially, whereas VADA do not. And I thought, as I said, that Massachusetts sided with WADA, that they were their kind of governing body and rules to adhere to. Apparently that's not been the case, and I'm really glad that this is, from a boxing in general standpoint, I'm really glad that this ruling stuck and went ahead, because otherwise it would have made a mockery for VADA, who obviously offer the more stringent and probably more, well, not probably, the more comprehensive testing suite, and it incorporates a lot of what major American sports like the NHL, NFL, baseball already use or already adhere to. I'm not sure why WADA haven't updated or at least upgraded their ban list. I don't know the justification. However, what we do know is that the Massachusetts Boxing Federation Council, whatever you want to call them, took VADA's banned or failed drug test from Saunders into consideration and failed to give him a license based on that information. Which for me, as far as the sport goes, as I said, is kind of like a milestone case. I'm really glad, and I think there's a few of the hardcores who are quite surprised that this actually was the case, because obviously there was so much money riding on it, and Billy Joe Saunders and Frank Warren have now missed out on major paydays. So of course they're upset, but either voluntarily or involuntarily, Billy Joe Saunders cheated by the same drug standards commission that he signed up to, which was VADA. It was a banned substance. Either, as I said, knowingly or unknowingly, he's ingested a banned substance. Therefore, you are ineligible to fight. You've been caught cheating. Again, it doesn't matter whether it was knowingly or unknowingly. I think if we were to consider all the actions of Billy Joe Saunders, and this is purely an opinion, this is not based on fact, but if we consider how he has actually been behaving his entire career, is anybody really surprised that he's been caught cheating? Now, I think I have a lot of time for him. I think he's very funny. I think up until this point, he was good for the sport. Didn't really like some of the things he was doing with his kids, and encouraging him to punch people in the balls and whatever. But I thought he was entertaining, or becoming a more entertaining fighter, and therefore good for the sport. His antics out with the ring always left a lot to be desired. And as I said, are we really surprised he's been caught cheating? Just because he said, "Oh my God, I hate cheating. I hate cheating." As I said, that's what you'd expect somebody to say. Any boxer would say that. You'd never hear a boxer say, "Well, I think we should relax the rules on doping." Maybe he was even more so because he knew he was cheating the entire time. I don't know. But, and I mean, it could be, as I said, he's been really unfortunate. But the actual drug in question, you won't find in an over-the-counter nasal decongestant. you'd have to go to a GP to have this prescription made for you. So this isn't, as I said, this is not like he's took some Vicks and oh no, I've been banned now. This is a specialized. Even if it was a nasal spray, I mean, I don't know what the proof is, but I'm assuming we'll take them at their word this time. They lied before. We'll take them at their word that it wasn't over the spray. It was a nasal decongestant, a nasal spray, and somebody or something went wrong, and now they've been caught with it in his system. Now, what I don't really understand is why Billy Joe Saunders, if he has accidentally ingested this, and if he has, it's an awful situation to find yourself in as a fighter, I'm sure. As any sportsman or sportswoman would say, it's a terrifying situation to be caught with something you didn't knowingly ingest. However, knowing that you have, willingly or unwillingly, surely you wouldn't then want to fight with the likelihood that you might then carry an advantage. I wouldn't. If I was a boxer, and I've never been in a ring, just to clarify, but if I was a boxer and I had unknowingly ingested some kind of steroid, a stimulant, a drug that is banned, I wouldn't want to fight until this thing was completely gone from my system and the effects of it were neutralized, because otherwise I have an unfair advantage. Surely if Billy Joe Saunders hates drug cheating as much as he's saying, he wouldn't want to be getting into the ring with any. I mean, I don't know how long he's been training with this stuff in his system for. But regardless, I wish Frank Warren good luck on his court case. I have no idea what they hope to recoup other than money from that. Billy Joe Saunders, and again, maybe it's plausible that he's done this accidentally. He's just went to the doctor because he felt a bit fluey or something, and the doctor's given him something. I mean, in the unlikely event that they've checked the ingredients and it wasn't listed and there's a mistake at the manufacturing plant or whatever, again, I think this would be taken into consideration during the investigation, because I think that might kind of what happened with Canelo. If you listen to, I know Suleiman's maybe a little bit too biased, but if you listen to Suleiman's explanation of the Canelo situation, he explains that given the investigation that was proceeded, I think they maybe found the plant that this, or the slaughterhouse that this animal, this cow, was taken to, and they could probably trace back to the original farm, and this farm's been caught with clenbuterol in their animals before. So maybe that's where that 6 months ban came from, I don't know. But I'm assuming they went through a similar, or would have went through a similar investigation for this. And the fact that it said Billy Joe Saunders has relinquished the title prior to an investigation, I find that very strange. Unless what else would you be hiding? So obviously, as the fight goes on, I really wanted to see Andrade and Billy Joe Saunders. I think it would have been a great test for both fighters. Where does Billy Joe Saunders go from here? I have honestly got no idea. And again, looking at it in retrospect, remember all the pictures that Billy Joe Saunders was posting of Canelo kind of before and after? There's a picture of Billy Joe Saunders, kind of, I assume, just starting camp, and he looks like the Michelin Man. For anyone that's not in the UK, he's like a tire guy, like a car tire guy. He's just huge. He's just fat, just fat. And then you look at him at his fighting weight, and he's cut up and he's ripped. And I mean, in his last few fights, he hasn't done the typical getting tired in the last kind of quarter of the fight either. That could just be because he's changed his training methods. Who knows? Who knows? I'm just putting the question out there. There is also, I'm a huge, an avid fan of Hatman Boxing. He put the question out there, not suggesting, but the question that, Eddie Hearn was probably quite relieved this fight hasn't went ahead. He saved himself a load of money. His fighter now has an easier title. We think an easier title route. I don't know anything about Walter Kautondokwa. If anybody wants to try pronouncing that, you're welcome to. But I'm not sure I really buy into that. I think that beating Billy Joe Saunders would have been huge publicity. I do agree that Eddie's maybe got a bit of relief in the sense that his fighter has a less likelihood of losing now. I think he himself had said he would like a couple more fights for Andrade, but there we are. Anyway, I don't want to keep this video for too long. What do you people think? Please let me know in the comments section. Do you think that Billy Joe Saunders has been really unlucky here? Do you think he's been hard done to? Or do you think it's a fair and positive ruling for boxing as a sport?